What up, my friends? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have what will hopefully be a very exciting roundup of some easy, budget-friendly, family favorite style one-pan meals. One-pan meals are one of my favorite ways to cook because I feel like the cleanup is so minimal on them, and I am always trying to come up with ways to eliminate as many dishes as possible. So let me go over with you the 5 must-try recipes you're gonna wanna add to your menu. These are all budget-friendly, ready in about 30 minutes. I think a couple of them approached 40, but anywhere in the 30 to 40 minute range. First up, we have a Cajun chicken Alfredo, and I'm excited about this one because I actually ended up making my own Cajun seasoning for this that I can keep on hand for future recipes, and it made such a difference. It was so good. I also share a one-pot taco sweet potato hash skillet. Absolutely delicious. My favorite part about that one is we actually repurposed it the next day for breakfast. So I got dinner and breakfast taken care of for the next day. Next up was a little bit of a fail, and I'm leaving it in here anyways because I just want to show you guys that things don't always go right in my kitchen either. But the bones of the recipe are so good that I just had to share it with you, and it's Marry Me Meatballs rice skillet. That's correct. Okay, just tune in for that one. It's a little bit of a hot mess. It's a little bit of chaos, but you know to expect that over here. I then make somebody else's recipes. So normally on this channel, I always do original creative recipes that just come up in my head or ones that I've made a million times before. But I actually found one on a blog that intrigued me so much that I made it. It's a one-pan orzo dinner recipe that has butternut squash, kale, and sausage in it. Absolutely delicious. And then last but not least, we're making a Big Mac skillet. If you're new here, hi, how are you? How's the family? Thank you so much for clicking on that thumbnail and giving me a chance. Here you can expect videos just like this one where I share some dinner inspiration to help you out when it comes to setting up the menu for your family for the week. I also share a lot of haul videos, so if you're into Costco, Trader Joe's, Sam's Club, I share my finds from those stores as well. If you end up enjoying the vibe while you're here, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. And without further ado, let's dive into the video. All right, friends, we are kicking things off with a Cajun chicken Alfredo, and I'm even making my own Cajun seasoning from scratch. It was actually so simple. You probably have most of these ingredients in your pantry right now like I did. Recipes for everything will be in the description, including the seasoning blend. So all you have to do is mix together Italian seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, cayenne pepper, onion salt, white pepper, and sea salt. I just mixed it all together and boom, I had a homemade Cajun blend that'll last me months. Then I moved on to the main event, the Cajun chicken Alfredo. This is a one-pot wonder. We start by just boiling the pasta and broccoli in the skillet and getting those two out of the way at the same time. While those were cooking, I seasoned the chicken up with that Cajun blend we had made. I used a tablespoon for about a pound of chicken that I had diced into strips. If you want it to be spicier, you could increase the amount of Cajun seasoning you add or add more cayenne itself. Once the pasta and broccoli were done, I drained them and kept them to the side. Then in the same skillet, I cooked the chicken until it was golden and juicy and put that with its friends, the pasta and broccoli. I whipped together the Alfredo sauce in the same skillet. We're not trying to do a lot of dishes until it was all creamy and dreamy. And then I brought back in the other members of the party, the chicken, the broccoli, and the pasta. Made sure it was all coated in that delicious sauce. We taste tested this one, so let's see what we thought. What up, my friends? We have something I've never made before. I've never made Cajun chicken Alfredo before. I've made Alfredo a million times, but I've never done Alfredo on this channel. Because in this season of life, most of the time, I'm just throwing some Alfredo sauce from a jar. Ooh. And things.
Oh, this is homemade Alfredo?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Which, if you do that, this would be an even easier dinner. And no shade coming your way if you end up using a jarred Alfredo sauce. I personally love the Rayos. Rayos?
No,
I'm pretty sure it's Rayos.
Rayo.
So anyways, I personally love that one. If you ended up using a jarred Alfredo sauce, this would be an even faster recipe. But any hoodles, we're gonna dive in. I even made my own Cajun seasoning today, okay? Because I didn't have Cajun seasoning, and I was like, I could just use Creole seasoning because I have Tony's Creole seasoning. But then I was like, that just feels wrong because then I would have to call it Creole, and that just sounded wrong. So
because it's not you if you're not making.
Yeah, if I'm not being extra as
this is the first time you've ever made Cajun seasoning.
Yeah, I've honestly, I may have made like a taco seasoning for myself in the past or something, but I've never taken the time to make my own seasoning. It looked pretty promising. I did make some mistakes though, John. I forgot to tell you about this. So when I was making the Creole seasoning, everything was like a tablespoon, a tablespoon, a tablespoon, a tablespoon.
Tell me you pulled a me.
It was worse than a U. John, one time, I think I told this story on here before. Maybe I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I told it on Instagram.
Oh.
One time, John was making cookies, and he came and asked me something, and he's like, we don't have any milk. What can I use instead of milk? Because it says that I need 1 TSP of milk. And I was like, oh, well, we had like eggnog or heavy cream or something at the time. So I was like, you can just substitute that out. And then I was sitting there and I was like, why would it call for a teaspoon of milk? I've never seen a recipe call for only a teaspoon of milk. So I march out to the kitchen and I'm like, John, what does the recipe say? And he's like, oh, it says 1 TBSP of milk. And I was like, oh, that's a different measurement. And he was like, so like all of the things that said like TSP or TBSP, he was just intertwining them. And we ended up having like to quadruple the recipe.
This was like 17 years ago.
Yeah, it was forever ago. He's come a long way. But today, your girl, who has a channel where she shares recipes, I'm going down the list and it's like tablespoon, 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 tablespoon. I get to the cayenne pepper, John.
Ooh.
And what does your girl do? She goes with a tablespoon instead of a teaspoon.
I mean,
of cayenne pepper.
I would have been okay.
No, you would not have. Nobody would be okay with that. That's 4 times the amount, I'm pretty sure. Because I think there's either 4 or 5 teaspoons in a tablespoon. So I ended up just going back and like adding extra of the other seasonings.
Oh, so you just...
because I was like, there's no way.
So it's
because at that point,
thing.
once I realized my mistake, I had already stirred it all in. Like I couldn't even fish some of that out. Like we were too far gone at that point. So I ended up just adding back in the mild ones. And
so you did the exact same thing I did with the cookies.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. But
yours takes up a lot less room than my
that's
5
true.
pounds of cookie
We had
batter.
cookie dough in the freezer for like ever. It was insane. But okay, let's dive in.
Why would you take that away from me?
So sorry. Now here's the thing. I did not have heavy cream, which when you make Alfredo, you want to have heavy cream. I only had 2% milk. So ours is like on the, like
thinner?
Yeah, thinner side. So just know that when they make it at home, when they redo this recipe, they're going to get the like true Alfredo, like, Okay. Well, it's actually, I should say true American Alfredo. Not.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing. You have completely and utterly ruined chicken for the rest of people.
Why?
If they make this seasoning exactly as you did.
You're so dramatic.
That chicken, that seasoning is ridiculous.
It is really good. And I was nervous because I don't do spice. Like, I'm like a mild medium girl, like I'm like, I can kind of go into the medium range.
The Alfredo
counteracts
the spice.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I could eat just that chicken by itself, like 10 pounds of it.
And if you wanted to, if you're like John and you do look like it's spicier, you can always add some extra cayenne, or you can double up on the Cajun seasoning. Because I only did 1 tablespoon for all of the chicken.
Like, here's my thing. How are you supposed to portion control when it's that delicious?
I don't know, John. That's on you, John. You got to figure that out, man. Just put it in a bowl, put the rest away, pretend it doesn't exist.
You have to. And then you know what you get to do?
What?
You get to wait till the following day when it's all
and
marinated
and
eat it again.
What's funny too is the pasta is actually a chickpea pasta, so it's not even like if this would be even better if we had used
I think the chickpea pasta is good though.
I do too. We've gotten to the point where I don't really notice. You can tell a little bit of a difference when it comes to the texture.
Yeah.
It's definitely soggier.
Yeah.
And you don't really want to undercook it, but you do want to undercook it. It's a weird.
There's a happy medium.
There is. And so it's like you have to watch it really good, but I mean, for me, the amount of fiber that you get from it is great. But if you don't want to use it, you could use regular pasta. Just add extra chicken if you want more protein or something. But anywho, what would you score that, John?
10.
A 10?
That's a 10. That is a 10. That is a 10.
You are wild, bro.
That chicken, that flavor.
You know what's funny too is that if you were given a choice between Alfredo and marinara, you would normally choose marinara. So it's funny you're giving this a 10.
Here's my thing.
Here's his thing.
My thing is this. The Alfredo is like a side.
Oh,
the chicken.
The chicken is the star?
The chicken with the seasoning is the star.
I love it.
And everything else is just there.
Okay,
so
got it.
That chicken, that seasoning, mix it all together with everything else, it's a 10.
It's a 10.
It's John approved.
It's John approved. Oh,
it is John approved.
We know what that means, people. I'm giving it a 9. But I feel like I know, but I pulled a U. I feel like had I had heavy cream and it was like my actual Alfredo sauce, whereas like because I love thick Alfredo sauce, I feel like that maybe would have bumped me into like the 9.5 range. You know,
what would make it a 10?
I don't know. Oh, I know what would make it a 10.
More cheese.
More cheese. That's exactly what it would be.
It's like I know you.
Yeah, if I sprinkled some like mozzarella on it and then stuck it in the oven under the broiler for a couple minutes and like that would be a 10. That would 100% be a 10.
Why?
But we're not doing all that jazz today, okay? We're trying to keep it like this is already a very heavy meal, so.
This is not heavy.
It is heavy. Well, technically it's not because I use 2%, but there is like 1.5 cups of cheese. All right, so we're gonna get that feedback over to corporate. You guys are diving into the next recipe. Next on the menu is a taco beef and sweet potato hash. It's the perfect mix of savory taco goodness and delicious sweet potatoes. For this, I peeled and then cut my sweet potatoes into wedges and worked them through my countertop grater so they become a shredded consistency. And since my grater was out, I took the time to shred up some Monterey Jack cheese for the meal as well. Then I moved on to just sauteing garlic, pepper, onion, and celery until it was soft and fragrant. I then dropped in the sweet potatoes with some taco seasoning, followed by ground beef with more taco seasoning. I like to layer my spices. I cooked everything up, threw in some cheese, and boom. I have another taste test on this one for you. Let's check in and see how we rated it. Friends, what up? We got John.
What up?
I always say that. John doesn't know what this is yet. He just asked me, what is it? And he was like, wait, no, tell me on camera. This is a sweet potato taco skillet.
Sweet potato tacos.
Yep. So it's like a one-pan wonder, if you will. And it's got shredded sweet potato in there. It also has, I found out recently, hold on, don't tell me. Somebody told me, I need to look it up, hold on. Someone told me in the comments.
Told you what?
I'll tell you in a second. Okay, somebody told me, one of my friends on my anti-haul video told me that when you're from Louisiana, you say if you put celery, onion, and bell pepper, that's considered the Trinity. And I had added garlic, and I was like, I think that I was, you know, like it didn't call for garlic, but I can't live without garlic. They said that's the Trinity with the Pope if you add garlic. So that's what I did here. We had diced celery,
where do
diced
people
pepper.
Come up with this stuff?
In Louisiana, they got sass, they've got energy, you know what I mean? And they come up with cool things. Us Yankees are boring. All we've got is no sa. That's all we got. Anyways, so that's what's, I didn't finish what I was saying. So we have the Trinity with the Pope, which is diced onion, diced celery, diced peppers. I think, maybe I'm messing this up. Maybe it's whatever. Maybe it's diced onion, diced celery, and diced carrot is the Trinity. I don't know. We don't know. 2/3 of the Trinity are there at least, because I'm pretty sure it was onion and carrot. Carrot is not in this.
And the Pope is garlic.
The Pope is garlic, so the Pope is there. The Vatican is represented, okay?
What is going on right now?
And then it has garlic. No, I already said garlic. It has ground pepper.
Doing great.
Wow, I'm short-circuiting. The robot is shutting down. Ground beef. Thank you. And then it also has a little bit of cheese in there. It has taco seasoning. We personally used Kinder's chili cheese, but you could just use whatever taco seasoning you have on hand. Some salt, some pepper, and last minute I decided to toss in the zest of a lime and the juice of a lime because I just felt like it needed a little pop of something. So that's what we did there. And she's not winning any beauty pageants, but
listen, beauty,
she smells delicious.
Beauty isn't everything. It's what's on the inside that counts.
And it's about to go inside my mouth.
She said that. She said that. Oh, yeah, that's the telling sign.
I did the eyebrow.
Telling sign. Hang on, I gotta get some more cheese.
Yeah, the cheese is necessary.
Hang on. That's not a good bite.
This guy. I think we have enough for the assessment, John. So, John, corporate's waiting. They want to know.
I had to keep eating it because I wasn't sure if I really liked it or not.
Mm-hmm. Your poker face isn't good either, bro.
That's ridiculous.
It's super flavorful, but it's not too much. Like if you're, like
it's like simple.
Yeah, it's like simple flavorful. It's not, I don't know how else to explain it. It's just like, I honestly think the lime is a great move.
I think whatever you did
is a great move.
Is a great move.
I love the sweet potatoes. I also love that
you rubbing off Boston on me.
Whatever.
Whatever you did.
You're more Boston than I am. He was actually born right outside of Boston. I grew up in Southeast Massachusetts.
You grew up in Cowtown.
I basically grew up in Rhode Island. So the fact that I don't say coffee is a miracle. Okay. Anyways, what were we talking about? We were talking about the skillet. I am so bad right now.
It was very simple. It was delicious and flavorful. I feel like it has all, like if you could put that in a taco shell by itself.
Oh, you totally could.
Like
that would
nothing
be good.
else.
Oh, I was talking about the sweet potatoes.
Oh.
So the sweet potatoes, I'm glad that I shredded them. I would go that route versus dicing them because I feel like it gave it, I don't know, like easier to eat almost. Like I feel like if I was dealing with diced sweet potatoes, it might be like broken up more. This, you know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe, yeah.
Because ground beef, I feel like would be like get in between pieces of sweet potato, and then it would be hard to eat.
We don't want it to get in between.
No, we wanted to just all party together. Okay.
Party rockers in the house tonight.
And what did I interrupt you about?
I don't know. We could put it in taco shells.
Oh yeah, so
put it in a little wrap.
So it would work.
Ooh. With some taco sauce.
You know what, this would be good? If you need an idea for leftovers with this, because this made a generous portion. This would easily feed 6 to 8 people. I'm not kidding. Like, that entire thing is basically still full. 4 Johns, 6 to 8 other people. Because I see the look on his face where he's like, no, I'm going to be eating a lot of that.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying, John, I can see the look on your face. But if you have a lot of leftovers from that, and you are the type that doesn't like leftovers, turn that into a breakfast burrito, bro.
Oh!
Put that on a wrap with some scrambled egg. Toss them in the air fryer with some extra cheese.
Tomorrow.
We are so doing that. Or if you even wanted to just keep it the way it is and slap a fried egg on top of it if you don't want to deal with a burrito.
No, I'm going to wrap that with some scrambled egg.
And an extra cheese. Don't play around. Don't play around. I'm going 8.5 on that one.
Wow.
What are you going?
I'm going the same.
Same? Yeah. Samesies? That's the feedback going to corporate, and you're about to dive into your next recipe. This next one, you guys, oh my word, did it humble me. This was supposed to be a Marry Me meatball rice skillet. I was so excited about this one. I'm going to share some clips with music, and then I'll pop in to explain how this one let me down. I hope it brings you a smile, and I hope it reassures you that it doesn't always go right in anyone's kitchen. You guys, we're basically just going to call this recipe a blooper recipe at this point because I truly have no idea what is happening with this. But I'm going to try and make it again in the future. But I'm just going to leave it in here so you can see that craziness happens in my kitchen too. So I have made rice skillets like this several times before. There's been a couple different things happening in this one. One, I'm using meatballs instead of like something like ground sausage. So I don't know if the meatballs are sucking up too much of the liquid. So I removed it. I'm also using brown rice instead of white rice. So the problem is that I would just abandon this. But first of all, like the frugal side of me cannot just like abandon this much food. And then the other thing is like this sauce right here is absolutely delicious. So I just was wondering if I was even recording. So anyways, I removed the meatballs and I'm gonna see, I added some more water. I'm gonna try and see if I could like bring this up to a boil and then cover it and get the brown rice to cook because it is just not cooking. It's like it's literally been on the stove for an hour. So, and I mean, I cooked the meatballs for probably 10 minutes before that. So the brown rice has been in here for 50 minutes and I added extra liquid like you're supposed to for brown rice. But again, I think maybe the meatballs were pulling some of the liquid from the brown rice. So we're gonna give it a try, and I will remake this again in the future, but I just thought this would be fun to include a little recipe gone wrong moment, if you will. All right, friends, John saved the day. He added some more water and then brought it back up to a boil and then saved the day. This was an absolute fail though. I will not recommend this recipe as it stands. We will be doing it again, but we are gonna drop in some cream cheese at this point and some Parmesan cheese. And then I'm gonna bring the meatballs back into the party. And we're gonna try it. So for flavor wise, you know, but in terms of the execution of the recipe, not one that I would recommend. You guys, we have a fail to share with you. It might taste-wise not be a fail, but execution-wise it certainly was. It was supposed to be a 30-minute, one-pan dinner. It is now 8:22 and I started it at 6:36, okay? Almost 2 hours to get this bad boy on a plate. I have no words, but we're gonna try it taste-wise. I was so excited about this dish. I thought about it at 11 o'clock at night and I was so pumped. I was like, I'm gonna even go as far as to make it an Instagram reel. Like, I'm gonna go above and beyond because this is gonna be a winner. The narrator comes on and says, she was incorrect. It was not a winner.
What are you laughing at?
Nothing. I'm gonna let you try it.
Oh, shoot.
So, it tastes delicious, but the brown rice is still not even cooked after giving it 2 hours. It's like much more cooked than it was. It was tasting like birdseed at one point. Flavor-wise,
That's good.
Flavor-wise, this is good. I feel bad now because I was kind of hoping it was gonna be like a 3. Because then I could be like, don't even bother. But I will recreate this somehow. Okay, you guys?
White rice.
It might have to be, yeah, we use brown rice. I have some ways that I could update this. So I'll figure out, I don't know when it'll get in, but at some point in the next 2 months, this will happen again. Because this is John's type of meal anyway, so I feel like he would like it. But this is called Marry Me Meatball Skillet. And I feel like a proposal is not coming for me because that's not impressing nobody.
It's flavorful. It's
the flavor is so good.
Point.
But
the brown rice.
I'm going to figure it out. I will redo it. I will make it marriage worthy. Okay?
Good news.
What is that?
Marriage already happened.
That's true. I already locked this guy down. So I don't even have to be making him marry me dishes anymore because he already did that.
You make me marry me dishes every time you cook.
That is true, except for tonight.
Except for tonight. But the flavor is still really good.
It's also just hilarious that the dish is literally called Marry Me.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was even making it was because when I made the reel, I was going to be like, I don't know why people go with Marry Me chicken because before we were married, I used to mess up chicken all the time. Frozen meatballs, you can't mess up.
Well, you didn't mess up the meatballs.
That's true. But the dish is frozen meatballs. And instead of messing up the protein, I messed up the grain somehow. So
oh well.
I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm giving it an extra point than I thought I was. I was thinking it was gonna be a 3 because the flavor is there, but it's like it's just
It's okay.
Everything's fine. Your score, good sir?
I'm actually gonna surprisingly go with a 5.
A 5.
Because the flavor is really good. The meatballs are really good. Granted, they're frozen meatballs. But the bones.
Well, they should have soaked up a lot of flavor because they were in the pot for 2 hours. At least you guys know I'm not going to lead you astray, okay? I'm not going to pretend. I will let you know when these things happen. Okay, well, we're going to get this feedback over to corporate. You're going to dive into the next recipe, and let's hope for my sake that it's better than this one. Good night. Hello, friends. We are in the kitchen tonight, and I know I usually share original recipes over here. However, I saw this one, and I was like, you know what? This sounds pretty much perfect as is. This is from Nourish by Nick. This is a 1-pan butternut squash and sausage orzo with kale. The only thing that I didn't have is I don't have feta cheese. So I'm actually making use of some stuff I have in the fridge that I need to get rid of anyway. And this is a cheese that I recently purchased at Trader Joe's that we really liked. It's a very mild cheese, so it doesn't have like that saltiness that feta has. So I might add a little bit of extra salt to account for it. And then also, what was the other thing? She calls for dried sage, dried thyme. And instead of doing like individual seasonings like that, I have this one. It's like a roast chicken one. It's just like a basic one. I just didn't feel like grabbing out individual seasonings. She used mild Italian turkey sausages with the casing removed, so the like not cooked version. I'm using kielbasa because it's what I had in the fridge. She said that it takes 10 minutes for prep, 29 minutes for cook time. So what I did to try and see how fast we can make this is I laid everything out for myself. I made myself a little prep station, I guess. And I love 30-minute meals with Rachel Ray, and she used to always recommend this, like, get yourself set up for success. So I have all of my ingredients over here laid out kind of in the order that I'm going to be using them. I need to dice up the kielbasa and the onion. Those are the only 2 things I need to dice because I already had minced garlic in the fridge. So that I had like prepped for myself. I know normally I do like voiceovers, but the kids are all sleeping right now, so I thought it would be kind of fun for you guys to actually cook with me for this one. So we're gonna do a cook with me on this dish, and then we will do a taste test to see how it turns out at the end. All right, so I'm starting the clock, see how fast I can make this. So I'm just gonna cut this kind of like lengthwise and then do kind of small chunks so it's kind of worked throughout this dish. There's a lot going in this pan, so all right, we'll move that off to the side. And then I always like to have a trash bowl. This is another Rachel Ray tip. I have a trash bowl nearby, and I just throw stuff in there. I will fish out any of these scraps for myself, as long as it doesn't, you know, if I throw like poultry in there, obviously I wouldn't, but I'll fish that out after to keep for our veggie scraps bag. I usually keep that on the side for myself, and I forgot to pull it, and I just don't want to cut into my time right now, you know? I would just dice this up because it would probably be faster, but I do have to use this in a second anyway. After I start making this one, I'm doing a little bit of meal prep for myself. So I'm gonna take a shortcut and use my veggie chopper. So we got diced onion, we got the diced sausage, and now we can move on over to the stove. Take you guys over there. Right, so I just got my stove on. Mine is, it says medium heat for this, but I don't know. I like to go like medium high, so I did an 8. Mine does like numbers. And I'm splashing in a little avocado oil. It called for olive oil, but I use avocado for everything. So I'm dropping that in. Drop in the sausage meat next. I'll link these cutting boards too down below. It comes in like a set, and I just love how flexible it is, so you can drop food in nice and easy. I'm gonna grab myself a spatula so I'm not using a knife like a psychopath. Okay, I can hear that starting to heat up a little, so I'm just gonna zhuzh these around for a couple minutes. All right, and then it says to make like a center and add the garlic and onion. So it says to use half an onion, so I got about half of what we made there, and 3 cloves of garlic. I'll let that cook for a minute there. All right, so it said to cook the garlic and onions until fragrant, and it is definitely there. It says to use a cup of butternut squash. So I'm using frozen. It says you can use either. And a cup of cherry tomatoes. I'm also gonna use this little Italian blend that I have from Trader Joe's in there. And it says a little bit of red pepper flakes if you want to, which both Dawn and I enjoy, so. And then stir. I mean, so far this already looks really good. All right, next up it has us adding some chicken broth, 3 cups total. And don't forget the recipe will be linked down below, but we're gonna be bringing this up to a boil. So I'm gonna give this a couple minutes to heat on up. Hey friends, we are a bubbling over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in the orzo. I'm doing 8 ounces of orzo. It calls for a cup and a half, but I'm just going with 8 ounces because I'm using the other 8 ounces for another recipe. And of course, I'm just eyeballing it. You know how I am. So it says just to stir that bad boy in. We're gonna reduce the heat down to medium. Okay, so we're gonna cover it up. Reduced it to medium, covering it up. And it says to stir occasionally, so I'll probably just check in every 2 or 3 minutes to stir it. Okay, so it's been 3 minutes. I'm just gonna give it a quick stir. Yeah, it's definitely sticking a little to the bottom, so I keep an eye on it, but not too bad. In another few minutes, let's take a look-see. Moving along nicely here. It's definitely progressing nicely. That orzo is soaking up the sauce really quickly at this point. Okay, here we are, pop it back in. This is looking great to me. I'm just gonna test this orzo and see if we are there. Great news, the orzo is fully cooked. We can move on to adding kale. It says to do it a cup at a time. I'd probably call that 2 cups. I'm gonna reduce the heat a little too. This is a pretty dinner. So many men overboard. An essential part of cooking in Kate's kitchen is just to make a mess at all times. So we are accomplishing our task here. This looks delicious. Okay, and then we're moving on to the final step of just crumbling in this cheese. It called for a cup of feta, so I'm just kind of eyeballing this here. And you guys are not gonna believe this, but we are at 29 minutes. So we made this a less than 30-minute meal. I think the reason why mine took less time than the bloggers is because I used fully cooked sausage. So if you follow the recipe as she has it and use a raw sausage, then it's probably gonna be about 40 minutes total based on what she wrote. It was 10 minutes prep time, 29 minutes cook. With this way, if you go with a fully cooked sausage, like you could get a delicious sausage at like Trader Joe's, one of their chicken sausages or something, and those are usually fully cooked, and you can have dinner in 30 minutes. And then I'm gonna show you guys the mess we made, or I should say really the lack of mess we made with this dish. All right guys, let's check out the mess we made with this one. So in less than 30 minutes, we got this done. I have the skillet that I'll need to wash, the lid that I'll need to wash. I do have this amount of leftover kale from this recipe, but we're gonna use that in other things. Here's my trash bowl, really not bad at all. These are the dishes it created outside of the skillet. So it was just the cup that I used for chicken broth, which honestly you wouldn't even need because I make my own chicken broth using one of those better than bouillon base type things. So if you were pouring it out of a can or a carton, you would be good. You wouldn't even have that. And then I've got a spoon for scooping up the garlic and this for cutting up the things. That's it. So I feel like this is a very successful dinner. I'm very grateful to that blog for having it, and it's a very nutritious and balanced meal as far as I'm concerned. So we're gonna head on over to the taste test and see what John and I thought of it. Friends, all right, we have an exciting dish. John doesn't even know what I cooked tonight. He just showed up, you know?
I'm here.
That must be pretty fun. Like you just show up and dinner is served and you don't even know what's on the menu.
This is true. I mean, not like I'm just sitting in the other room doing nothing.
He was actually just trying to install 2 televisions in our RV because our RV was vandalized.
That's a whole
which
story.
was a whole story, and they stole our TVs. Well, they broke one and stole another.
Yeah.
We have it in a gated, secured place.
That got broken into.
We were very confident about the location, and it still happened. So anyways, that's that. John's been working hard at getting that all squared away so we can go on a road trip. This, John, is a butternut squash orzo sausage skillet. It has kale and cherry tomatoes in it, as well as some cheese. So, and the butternut squash and the sausage and all the things.
Have I had orzo?
I don't know. It's pasta. It's like rice and pasta had a baby.
Oh, so. Okay. Rice and pasta had a baby. We like those babies. Wow.
Oops. No poker face. I'm not even gonna try.
That tomato that I got burst, and it was like one gooey tomato. Ooh, so good.
I think that I'm finding out that I don't like raw tomato, but if tomatoes like dressed up in some way or cooked, I can usually handle it, and I loved that. It was like a burst of flavor. It's like it soaked everything up. That is a delicious meal. That is also a very summer meal.
Yeah.
Like when I was like finishing it all up and stirring it together, I was like, this is summer in a skillet. You know, so, but it's delicious right now. I'm not gonna lie, I will eat that 365 days a year. This is a stunner. I'm gonna go ahead and give
that's
that.
That's a big statement. I'm just saying, 365 days a year.
I would. It's not like my, what do they call that? Your death row meal? You know, like if you could only have one meal, what would you eat? It's not that.
Wow, we just got real serious.
We got real serious, which is not something that happens here pretty often. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and rate that a 9.
Wow.
That's a 9 for me.
I'm going 8.
Going 8.
I'm going 8.
That's pretty solid. Yeah. And let me just tell you that it only created like 3 dishes. It was less than 30 minutes. and it was all done in one pan. Like,
so one skillet.
30 minutes.
30 minutes or less.
Delicious. It's very balanced. It's got great things in there. We got kale, we got butternut squash, tomatoes, deliciousness.
The sausage is really good.
The sausage is really good. That's kielbasa.
Ooh, that's why.
But I think that would also be a vibe with Italian sausage. I think that it's very versatile. So you could swap out for whatever your favorite sausage is. You could even do chicken if you wanted to. This is a very versatile meal. So definitely a 9. We're going to get that feedback over to corporate, and you guys are jumping into the next recipe. Boom. And last but not least, I'm making what I called at the beginning of this a Big Mac skillet, but it's really more of like a cheeseburger pasta. I had recently made another Big Mac item, and I think I was just getting confused. So ignore that part. But anyways, this ends up being delicious. Be sure to check out the description box below for the full recipes. And I'll take this time to remind you, don't forget to subscribe if you want more quick, delicious meals that your entire family will love. This one was so simple. It's literally just a matter of browning the bratwurst with some seasonings, mixing in tomatoes, broth, and pasta, and letting it all cook until it's bubbly and thick. At the end, I just mixed in some cheese, plated it up. We had so much leftover of this one after serving dinner that night. I immediately got the leftovers in the freezer. We ended up reheating it a few days later, and it tasted just as good as the first night. So this would be a great one to get in the freezer for quick lunches or dinners. We have our final taste test to share, so let's go check that out now. Listen. Tonight we have one John is very excited about, and he doesn't even know what it is, but he knows from the looks of it that he'd like it. Oh my God, it almost slid off the plate. That would have been a mess for you to clean up. My shirt says, "Dolphins make me cry." Does anybody get it? Are you too young for us, bro? It's from Hootie and the Blowfish, and...
Why would you give it away?
Because I gave him a second. You know what I mean?
Okay.
To be like, I know what you're talking about, Kate. Someone will comment and say, I know what you were talking about. Anyways, I got to go to the Hootie and the Blowfish concert, and if they ever tour near your area, do not miss out. It was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. They seriously did every genre of music. They covered all of their great hits, obviously. They did a couple of Darius Rucker's like solo songs, and then they also did the most random songs out there. Like they did some bluegrass. They even did Mo Money, Mo Problems. Excuse me? Like, it was just the best concert ever. So, and I knew nothing about this concert. I was like a passenger princess to the max. One of my friends was like, I love Hootie. Can I come pick you up? She lives in Orlando. She came, picked me up. We went to Hootie, girls' night out. Our birthdays are like 5 days apart. It was like a mini birthday celebration. I knew nothing. I just knew it was $36. I Venmo'd her. That was the extent of my knowledge. And when I got there, we're like walking in, and I hear this voice singing, but I didn't recognize the song, but I recognized the voice. And I'm like, who is that? It's gonna bug me. We walk in, it's Edwin McCain, which anybody from the 90s, early 2000s, you understand Edwin McCain's I'll Be, and I Could Not Ask for More. Those are like the dinner dance songs. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, he was the opener, and he was phenomenal. Like he's been singing for 30, 40 years now, and both him and the entire Hootie and the Blowfish gang, they just blew me away. Collective Soul was also there, and they were a wild time. I didn't really like listen to their music very much. I didn't turn the radio to a different station if they came on, but I didn't own a cassette tape of theirs. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I've got off track here. Everything's fine. Collective Soul was also there. It was a great night. I don't get out much, so I had to tell somebody besides John about it.
Excited.
I'm real excited to talk about Hootie and the Blowfish in my shirt. What we have here, why you guys are here, is we have a cheeseburger, one-pot pasta meal made with bratwurst. You could just do ground beef or ground turkey or whatever you want. Okay? The thing I love about this is it created approximately 3 dishes. And that is what it's all about. That's why you make these one-pan meals, because they are easy on cleanup.
It is phenomenal.
That is Flavor City. Put it down, John.
Do I have to?
For right now, and then we'll get back to it. You know what that is like to me?
What is that like to you?
Okay, imagine
Heaven.
you have a juicy cheeseburger, and you dip it in some tomato basil soup, and then you eat it. That's what that's like.
Okay.
You don't agree?
Yeah, hey.
Do you agree? It's like dipping a cheeseburger.
I mean,
it's kind of like, you know how
the bread.
But it's the essence, John. It's like, you know when you have a grilled cheese and you dip it in tomato basil?
Yes.
Except instead of it just being a grilled cheese.
It's a cheeseburger.
Yeah, like the pasta is the bread in the scenario, John.
God.
You know what I mean?
Okay, we got there.
You guys, can you help me out? It literally is like a tomato soup just gave a hug to a cheeseburger.
I don't even know who you are anymore.
Why? I'm crazy tonight.
Well,
it was a wild day.
How much do you like
tomatoes?
How
much I like tomato stuff. I don't know what to tell you, John. I don't know what to tell you. This could stand for a vegetable too. So if you wanted to toss a vegetable in there, I was at like bare minimum today. I was like, we're just throwing dinner together. We're getting it done as quickly as possible. I don't even think I approached 30 minutes on this one. I think it was like 20, 25 tops. So I'm going 9. You concur?
I'm going 9.5 because
9.5.
This is a me meal.
This is a John meal.
This is like
also I've been making some. I hate buzzwords and I don't like diets at all. I've been making some conscious efforts to do some anti-inflammatory swaps. So we've been eating more brown rices, bonza pasta, fibery things.
Listen, we're not talking about brown rice.
Yeah, actually that's in this video. That is in this video, so they know me and brown rice, we got in a fight. It's fine when it's in the rice cooker, but we're not friends in a skillet, apparently. Anyway, so John, like this is a full-fledged, full pasta, full everything. This is like the epitome of inflammatory. So John is happy. John is happy to be inflamed. We've taken a weird turn as usual. So you give it a 9.5, I'm giving it a 9.
Yes.
We're getting that feedback over to corporate. This was the final meal in this video.
Oh, shoot.
It was, John.
That's it?
Yeah. Okay, my favorite... It's so funny because when we do these favorites, right, I'm like, did I score what I'm now calling my favorite lower than what I scored something else, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like sometimes when it's on your heart for a few days, you're still thinking about it.
True.
For me personally, I think number 1 is actually that butternut sausage kale orzo one.
Really?
That's number 1 in my heart. Your number 1 is this guy.
For sure. Inflammation to the max.
My number 2 is this guy. The hamburger helper fake out. What is your number 2?
My number 2 is the
chicken Alfredo.
Yeah. Oh,
chicken Alfredo.
That's right.
That's my number 3.
That chicken was so good.
Yes.
I'm still thinking about that chicken.
Still thinking about that. So that's your number 2. That's my number 3. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is the orzo.
The orzo butternut squash situation. My number 4 is the, what else do we have left?
Taco.
Oh yeah, my number 4 is the taco. That was really good though, and what I loved about that one is we repurposed it the next morning for breakfast.
Yeah.
So that was a total win. So just because it's number 4 doesn't mean... so that's number 4 for you as well?
Yeah, because I didn't show that, but I took it, I made like scrambled eggs and put it in a little tortilla, and I put some taco sauce on it. Oh.
And then what I did with mine was I put it on a plate, or I should say John put it on a plate, and then he put an egg on top of it for me.
Yeah.
And that was a vibe. That was such a vibe.
Yeah.
And then number 5 is obviously, I think we all already knew, the Marry Me Meatballs rice skillet. However, I will say it's delicious. It really was delicious.
The flavors were really, really good.
So good. So I know I'll be able to recreate that for you guys in the future. We'll throw it into some type of video. But so that'll wrap everything up. Those are all 5 meals. We're going to get this feedback to corporate. I hope we delivered whatever you needed when you clicked on that thumbnail. And if we did, reward us with a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Have a magical day. Goodbye.